My name is Mara Hartley. And this is how I reclaimed what was stolen from me by the woman who called herself my sister. The moment I stepped through the doorway of my childhood home, time seemed to freeze. Vanessa stood there in her designer outfit, mid-sentence with the real estate agent, when her eyes met mine. I watched as recognition dawned and the color drained from her face like water circling a drain. "You can't be here," she whispered, her manicured hand trembling against the marble countertop. I smiled. Not the timid smile of the girl who once begged for scraps of affection, but the calculated smile of a woman who had been planning this moment for 2 years. "Actually, I can." I slid the papers across the kitchen island. "As the owner of Hartley Holdings LLC, I have every right to inspect my new property." Her eyes darted across the document, widening at the signature line she'd authorized just days before. The same signature that had effectively handed me the keys to the guest house and leverage over the entire estate. "This is impossible," she stammered. "You're just an artist. A dreamer with a sketchbook." I leaned in close enough to smell her expensive perfume. "That's the thing about artists, Vanessa. We see what others miss. And I saw every move you made. Revenge isn't about speed, it's about patience. And I had been very, very patient." The real estate agent excused himself, sensing the tension. As the front door clicked shut, Vanessa and I stood alone in the house our father had built, with nothing between us but years of betrayal and a stack of legally binding documents. And for the first time since our father's funeral, I felt something like peace. Before grief and betrayal rewrote my story, I was just a girl who loved to draw. My childhood was painted in warm colors. Sunday pancake breakfasts with Dad flipping them too high, Mom teaching me to mix watercolors in the sunroom, family camping trips where we'd name constellations until we fell asleep. Our home was my canvas. Dad built me a window seat in my bedroom where I'd sketch for hours, watching seasons change through glass. "My little artist," he'd call me, hanging even my most amateur drawings in his office. "One day, you'll see your work in galleries." Mom would roll her eyes, but proudly. Then came the cancer. Swift and merciless. Mom was gone before I turned 15, leaving behind half-empty closets and a silence Dad couldn't seem to fill. 6 months later, he introduced Celine. Elegant, poised, with a laugh that never quite reached her eyes. "She makes me feel alive again," Dad whispered, as if seeking my permission. I gave it because his smile had returned, even if it looked different now. With Celine came Vanessa, 3 years my senior and infinitely more sophisticated. She wore confidence like designer perfume, turning heads in school hallways where I blended into walls. Still I tried. I braided her hair before parties, lent her my favorite sweaters, which she'd return with mysterious stains, and spent nights helping her perfect college application essays. "You're too nice for this world, Mara," she'd say, examining my sketches with a dismissive glance. I took it as sisterly teasing. Dad converted the garden house into my studio when I turned 16. "Your talent needs space to grow," he insisted. I spent evenings there, charcoal smudged and content, while inside the main house, Celine redecorated, erasing Mom's touches room by room. From the outside we were picture perfect. The Hartleys. Successful businessman father, sophisticated stepmother, popular older daughter, artistic younger one. We took vacations to Martha's Vineyard, posed for Christmas cards in matching sweaters, attended charity galas where Celine showcased her new family like prized possessions. I believed in this carefully constructed reality. When Vanessa borrowed money she never returned, I called it sisterly sharing. When Celine accidentally donated boxes of my mother's keepsakes, I called it a misunderstanding. When Dad spent more time at the office than my art shows, I called it necessary sacrifice. "Family means everything," Dad would say on rare evenings when we were all together. I'd nod earnestly while Vanessa and Celine exchanged glances I couldn't decipher. I believed family meant something to them the way it did to me. That blood and promises created unbreakable bonds. That the people who called themselves your family would protect you when it mattered most. I was wrong. The call came during my final semester of art school. Dad had collapsed during a meeting. A stroke, the doctor said. By the time I reached the hospital, Celine was already installed in the private room like a sentinel, Vanessa at her side with a clipboard and Dad's phone. "He's stabilized," Vanessa informed me, not looking up from the screen. "You should go back to campus. We've got this handled." But I stayed, sleeping in uncomfortable waiting room chairs while they went home to shower and change. I brought Dad's favorite books, read to him during the quiet hours when machines beeped in rhythm with his breathing. The doctors spoke of significant cognitive impact and long recovery ahead. Within days, Celine had hired a private nurse and moved Dad home. What should have been a relief became my first taste of exclusion. "The doctor recommends minimal stimulation," Celine explained, blocking the entrance to Dad's bedroom. "Your visits upset him. He tries too hard when you're here." I was relegated to brief, supervised visits. Dad seemed different, quieter, confused, his eyes rarely meeting mine. When I brought my sketchbook, hoping to share new work, Vanessa intercepted it. "He needs rest, not entertainment," she snapped. Weeks passed. I'd arrived to find Dad's resting, or the physical therapist just left, he's exhausted. Meanwhile, men in suits came and went. Financial advisors, lawyers, business partners. When I asked questions, Vanessa would smile tightly. "Focus on finishing school, Mara. Dad would want that. We're handling the boring stuff." One afternoon, I arrived unannounced and found Dad alone, more lucid than I'd seen in weeks. When I mentioned the parade of lawyers, confusion crossed his face. "What lawyers?" he asked. Before I could explain, Vanessa appeared in the doorway, face flushing with anger. "You know you're supposed to call first," she hissed, ushering me out. In the hallway, her voice dropped to a whisper. "He gets confused. The doctors said to maintain routine. You're upsetting him with questions." "He's my father too," I said. "And we're taking care of him," she replied. "Unlike you, we understand his business affairs. There are decisions that can't wait for your art classes to end." 3 months later, Dad suffered a second stroke. This time there was no recovery. I wasn't there when he died. Celine's text arrived an hour after he was gone. "Your father passed peacefully. Funeral arrangements pending." The funeral was a production directed by Celine. Black limousines, society photographers, Dad's business associates offering condolences to my stepmother while I stood in the shadows. Vanessa delivered a tearful eulogy about the man who became her father in every way that mattered. I wasn't asked to speak. 1 week later, we gathered in the oak-paneled office of Dad's attorney. I sat alone on one side of the table, Celine and Vanessa on the other, a physical manifestation of the divide that had grown between us. The will was read in a monotone that belied its devastating content. The family home, the vacation property, Dad's controlling interest in his company, his investments, even his car collection, all bequeathed to Vanessa, with provisions for Celine's lifetime comfort. My name appeared once, in a paragraph leaving me personal effects of sentimental value, and a small trust that would barely cover a year's rent. "There must be a mistake," I said, voice hollow in the quiet room. The attorney adjusted his glasses. "This will was executed 4 months ago, replacing all previous versions. It's quite clear, Ms. Hartley." Vanessa wouldn't meet my eyes as we left. I followed her to the parking lot, rain soaking through my funeral dress. "Did you know?" I demanded. "Did you know he was cutting me out?" She sighed, checking her reflection in her car window. "Dad made his own decisions, Mara. He wasn't himself. You know that. He was confused, medicated. He was perfectly lucid," she snapped. "He understood exactly what he was doing. Why would he do this? I'm his daughter. And I was the daughter who was there." Her composure cracked. "I managed his care, his business, his life, while you were off playing with paintbrushes. You think running a company is like mixing colors. You think property management is like sketching pretty pictures." The rain fell harder, mascara tracking down my cheeks. "He loved my art. He believed in me. Vanessa's laugh was cold. Believing in something doesn't make it valuable. Dad needed someone responsible to preserve his legacy, not a dreamer with a sketchbook. Those words cut deeper than the will itself. I stood frozen as she drove away, leaving me alone in the rain. I had 3 days to clear my belongings from my childhood home. Celine supervised as I packed, ensuring I took nothing of significant value. My art supplies, clothes, books, and the framed sketches from Dad's office were all I had to show for 23 years of life. As I loaded the last box into my used sedan, Vanessa appeared in the doorway. "I've arranged to have your things from the garden studio packed up," she said, almost kindly. "The property management company needs it cleared by next week." Property management. We're converting it to a rental. The estate taxes are substantial. I looked past her to the home where I'd grown up, already transformed by Celine's renovations, soon to be stripped of any trace of me or my mother. "He would have never wanted this," I whispered. Something flickered across Vanessa's face. Guilt, perhaps, or doubt. But it vanished quickly. "We'll never know what he wanted," she said. "He's gone." As I drove away, watching the house shrink in my rearview mirror, I realized the truth. My father hadn't betrayed me. Vanessa had betrayed him. She had used his weakness, his confusion, his trust to rewrite his legacy. And in that moment, something inside me hardened. The naive girl who believed in family died that day, replaced by a woman who understood that some debts can only be paid in justice. For weeks after leaving my childhood home, I barely functioned. I rented a tiny studio apartment with peeling paint and water stains that resembled Rorschach tests on the ceiling. During the day, I worked at a coffee shop, mechanically serving lattes to strangers. At night, I stared at blank canvases, unable to create. Grief has stages, they say. Mine had only one. A hollowness that consumed everything. I'd lost my father twice, once to illness and once to betrayal. My sketchbooks gathered dust. The framed drawings from Dad's office faced the wall. I couldn't bear to see them. 3 months into this half-life, an elderly man with silver hair and a tailored suit visited the coffee shop. He ordered a simple black coffee each morning for a week, watching me with curious eyes. On Friday, he left a business card on the counter. "You're Richard Hartley's daughter," he said. Not a question. "The artist." The card read, "Maxwell Thornton, Thornton Gallery and Investment Group." "I knew your father," he continued. "Remarkable man. I'd like to see your work sometime." I almost refused. Art belonged to a different life, the naive one where family meant something. But something in his eyes, kindness without pity, made me agree. Maxwell's gallery occupied a converted warehouse in the arts district. When I arrived with my portfolio, he studied each piece in silence, occasionally nodding or making notes. After an hour, he looked up. "You have your father's eye for detail and your mother's sense of color," he said. "Richard showed me your work years ago." He was immensely proud. The mention of Dad's pride broke something loose inside me. For the first time since the funeral, I cried, ugly, heaving sobs that left me hollow and somehow lighter. Maxwell offered me tea in his office, surrounded by investment charts and art catalogs in equal measure. "Your father and I went to college together," he explained. "We remained friends even when our paths diverged. He into development, me into art and finance." "Did you know Celine and Vanessa?" "Yes." His expression tightened. "I attended the wedding. I found it precipitous." Over the following weeks, Maxwell became my mentor. He offered me a job managing his gallery, teaching me about valuations, client relationships, and investment strategies. I absorbed everything, discovering an aptitude for business I never knew I possessed. "Art and finance aren't so different," Maxwell observed. "Both require seeing patterns others miss." 6 months into our arrangement, Maxwell invited me to dinner at his home. After the meal, he retrieved a folder from his safe. "I've debated whether to show you this," he said, placing it before me. It may cause you pain, but I believe you deserve the truth. Inside was a copy of a will. My father's will, dated 2 years before his death. In it, he divided his estate equally between Vanessa and me, with provisions for Celine's comfort. The garden studio was specifically left to me, along with seed money to establish an art gallery. This doesn't match what was read, I whispered. No, Maxwell agreed. It doesn't. How did you get this? Your father asked me to witness it. He kept a copy in his personal safe. Not the one at the house, but in his private bank vault. My hands trembled. Are you saying the will they presented was fraudulent? Can't prove it. But this will was never revoked in my presence, and Richard never mentioned changing it. The revelation should have devastated me. Instead, it crystallized something inside me, rage transforming into purpose. I could contest the probate, I said. Maxwell's expression was grave. You could. But Vanessa has resources now. She has your father's lawyers, his money. These battles can take years, drain you emotionally and financially. And if they destroyed the original, he was right. A direct attack would be costly, possibly futile. But there were other ways to fight. Teach me, I said. Everything about business, investment, property. Teach me what my father knew. Maxwell smiled, the smile of a chess master recognizing a worthy opponent. It won't be easy. Neither is losing everything. The transformation began that night. I stopped sketching dreams and started drafting plans. My artistic eye now scrutinized balance sheets and property valuations. I studied real estate law, corporate structures, tax strategies. All the things I'd once dismissed as boring while Vanessa was paying attention. Maxwell introduced me to his network. Investors, developers, attorneys. I changed my appearance. Soft watercolor hues replaced by sharp monochromatic suits. My artist's mess of hair tamed into a sleek bob. I learned to speak their language, to move in their world. By day, I managed Maxwell's gallery, building relationships with wealthy collectors. By night, I studied market trends and property listings, particularly those in my father's development portfolio. I created a holding company, Hartley Restorations LLC, with seed money from Maxwell and my first successful art investments. The name was my private joke. I wasn't just restoring properties, but restoring justice. Through careful monitoring of social media, I watched Vanessa's lifestyle grow increasingly lavish. Designer clothes, exotic vacations, expensive renovations to my childhood home. She was burning through her inheritance faster than the estate could generate income. Meanwhile, I lived modestly, investing every spare dollar. I rented a small apartment near Maxwell's gallery and sold my first collection of paintings. Abstract pieces that critics called meditations on absence and presence. The irony wasn't lost on me. 18 months after being forced from my home, I stood in Maxwell's office, watching the economic news. The market was contracting. Property values in my father's developments were falling, and estate taxes would soon come due. She'll need liquidity, Maxwell observed. The guesthouse property is the most logical asset to leverage. I nodded, a plan crystallizing. And I'll be waiting. That night, I stood before the mirror, hardly recognizing the woman who looked back. Confident, calculating, patient. Gone was the girl who believed in family above all. In her place stood someone new. Someone who understood that sometimes justice requires a steady hand and a long view. You were right about one thing, Vanessa, I whispered to my reflection. I was too nice for this world. But I'm not that girl anymore. Revenge requires more than anger. It demands strategy. While Vanessa flaunted her new wealth, I studied her like an artist examines a subject, noting every vulnerability, every pattern. Her Instagram became my research tool. Monday brunches at Bellini's, $200 minimum. Tuesday spa treatments at Ethereal, $500+. Weekend getaways to Aspen or the Hamptons. She documented everything. The Louboutins, the champagne, the interior designer transforming my childhood bedroom into a meditation space with imported Tibetan singing bowls. She's living like the money will never end, Maxwell observed as we reviewed her social media over lunch. It won't, I replied. But her access to it will. Through Maxwell's connections, I maintained discreet surveillance on the estate's financial situation. Property taxes had increased 15% in the county. The market was showing signs of correction. Dad's company shares, which Vanessa had kept rather than diversified, were underperforming. I created Hartley Restorations LLC with a complex ownership structure that obscured my involvement. On paper, it appeared to be a consortium of investors specializing in luxury property development. Maxwell's reputation lent it credibility. My anonymity kept it safe from Vanessa's scrutiny. The key, Maxwell advised, is patience. Financial pressure builds slowly, then suddenly. We waited. I invested carefully, building capital. I took business courses, earned certifications in property management and financial planning. I studied my father's business model, understanding what had made him successful, and what would make Vanessa fail. The economic downturn came right on schedule. The real estate market contracted sharply. Luxury properties, like my father's developments, were hit hardest. Simultaneously, the 2-year deadline for estate tax payments loomed. Vanessa's Instagram posts grew less frequent. The exotic vacations stopped. A blind item in the society pages mentioned a nouveau riche heiress, quietly shopping her jewelry collection to private buyers. It's time, Maxwell said, showing me the county tax assessment. The estate owed nearly $1.2 million in taxes within 60 days. He nodded. Let's make the approach. We hired Blackwell & Associates, a prestigious law firm with no connection to either of us, to represent Hartley Restorations. They contacted Vanessa with a straightforward proposal, a 5-year lease on the guest house property with an option to buy, offering an immediate cash payment that would cover approximately 80% of the looming tax bill. The timing was precise. Late enough that Vanessa would be desperate for liquidity, early enough that she wouldn't have time to find better options. 3 days later, Maxwell's source reported that Vanessa had consulted with 4 different banks about loans, all of which had been declined due to the property's existing encumbrances and her deteriorating credit. She'll take our offer, I predicted. She has no choice. The contract we prepared was a masterpiece of legal craftsmanship. On its surface, it appeared to be a standard commercial lease with purchase option. Buried within its clauses, however, were provisions that would give me leverage over the entire estate. Section 12.4 granted the lessee first right of refusal on any portion of the adjoining property should it be offered for sale or refinancing. Section 17.8 established shared access to utilities and infrastructure, with maintenance responsibilities falling to the lessor, creating potential liability for Vanessa. Section 23.2 included an obscure reference to the property's historical designation under my father's original development plan, a designation that could be enforced to prevent certain types of modifications or sales without lessee approval. Each clause was technically legal, defensible, and devastating if activated. She won't read the fine print, I told Maxwell. She never does. She'll see the money and sign. And if she has lawyers review it, he asked. The clauses are subtle enough that only specialized real estate attorneys would flag them. She can't afford those anymore. We sent the contract on a Friday afternoon, when attention spans are shortest and the weekend beckons. The offer included a 48-hour acceptance window, creating artificial urgency. Saturday evening, Vanessa requested minor changes to the payment schedule. We accommodated immediately, appearing eager and flexible while keeping the critical clauses intact. Sunday night she signed. Monday morning I transferred the funds, money I had earned through my own investments, my own work. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was paying Vanessa for access to property that should have been mine. But money was never the point. This was about justice, about restoration. Congratulations, Maxwell said, raising a glass of champagne in his office as we received confirmation of the executed contract. Phase 1 complete. I didn't celebrate. Not yet. Schedule the property inspection for Thursday. I want to be there personally. Are you sure that's wise? The contract is binding regardless. I smiled. Not the soft smile of the artist I'd once been, but the calculated smile of the businesswoman I'd become. This isn't just about legal ownership, Maxwell. It's about seeing her face when she realizes what she's done. When she understands that the sister she dismissed as a dreamer has been wide awake all along. I'd spent 2 years positioning every piece on the board. Now it was time for checkmate. Thursday arrived with perfect autumn weather. Crisp air, golden light filtering through trees that had witnessed my childhood. I chose my outfit carefully. A charcoal suit, red-soled heels that clicked authoritatively on pavement, my mother's simple pearl earrings. Power and heritage combined. The real estate agent met me at the property gate. A nervous young man clutching a tablet and property documents. Ms. Reynolds from Hartley Restorations, he confirmed, using my professional alias. Yes, I smiled. Though I believe the owner will be meeting us as well. Ms. Hartley insisted on being present. She's particular about the property. You have no idea, I thought. We drove up the winding driveway, past manicured gardens now showing signs of neglect. The main house loomed ahead, my childhood home, now Vanessa's domain. Beyond it stood the garden studio, my father's gift to me, soon to be mine again through very different means. The agent parked near the front entrance. Ms. Hartley requested we begin with a tour of the main house infrastructure, since it connects to the guest property utilities. Perfect. Exactly as I'd planned. Vanessa opened the door herself. No household staff anymore, I noted. She wore a designer dress that couldn't quite hide her weight loss, diamonds at her throat that couldn't distract from the shadows under her eyes. Financial stress had taken its toll. Welcome to, she began, then froze mid-sentence as recognition dawned. I stepped forward, hand extended professionally. Hello, Vanessa. It's been a while. The color drained from her face. You can't be here, she whispered, her manicured hand trembling against the marble countertop. I smiled. Not the timid smile of the girl who once begged for scraps of affection, but the calculated smile of a woman who had been planning this moment for 2 years. Actually, I can. I slid the papers across the kitchen island. As the owner of Hartley Restorations LLC, I have every right to inspect my new property. Her eyes darted across the document, widening at the signature line she'd authorized just days before. This is impossible, she stammered. You're just an artist. A dreamer with a sketchbook. I leaned in close enough to smell her expensive perfume. That's the thing about artists, Vanessa. We see what others miss. And I saw every move you made. The real estate agent, sensing the tension, excused himself to check the property boundaries. As the front door clicked shut, Vanessa and I stood alone in the house our father had built. This is some kind of trick, she said, voice rising. I'll call my lawyers. Please do. I'd love to discuss Section 12.4 of our agreement with them. Or perhaps Section 17.8. The one that gives me approval rights over any modifications to the main property. Her face contorted. What are you talking about? I removed a bound document from my briefcase. A copy of our contract with key sections highlighted. You really should read what you sign, Vanessa. This lease doesn't just give me the guest house. It gives me control over what happens to this entire estate. She snatched the document, flipping through pages with increasing panic. This isn't, you tricked me. No, I negotiated. There's a difference. Everything is legal, binding, and completely enforceable. Vanessa threw the contract down. Fine. Take the guest house. It's worthless anyway. Oh, I'm taking more than that. I removed another document from my briefcase, the copy of our father's original will that Maxwell had given me. I'm taking back what you stole. Her eyes fixed on the document, recognition and fear battling across her face. Where did you get that? Dad kept a copy with his friend Maxwell Thornton. The friend you never bothered to know about because he wasn't useful to you. I laid it on the counter. This will, his real will, divided everything equally between us. That's an old draft, she said quickly. He changed his mind. Did he? Or did you change it for him when he was too weak to understand what he was signing? Vanessa's laugh was brittle. You can't prove anything. The will was properly witnessed, properly executed. It's been through probate. I circled the kitchen island slowly, running my fingers along the marble edge. You know what I've been doing these past 2 years, while you've been spending Dad's money? Learning. About business, about law, about how to build a case. I stopped directly across from her. 3 of Dad's nurses have provided sworn statements about his mental state during the period when the new will was supposedly created. His doctor has confirmed he was on medication that impaired his cognitive function. And his attorney, the one who drafted the original will, has expressed in writing his surprise at the dramatic changes. Vanessa's composure cracked. You're bluffing. Am I? Shall we call the district attorney and find out? Fraud, elder abuse, and testamentary interference are serious charges, Vanessa. I wonder how you'd look in prison orange instead of Prada. She gripped the counter, knuckles white. What do you want? Justice. Money. Is that it? How much? I laughed. You taught me something valuable, Vanessa. Nice girls finish last, but patient women finish strongest. This isn't about money. It's about setting things right. Her strategy shifted instantly, tears welling in her eyes. Mara, please. Or family. I was just doing what I thought Dad wanted. He worried about you. Thought you weren't ready for the responsibility. Stop lying, I said quietly. It doesn't work anymore. Her tears vanished, replaced by cold fury. You think you've won. I still own this house. I'll fight you on every clause in that contract. I'll tie you up in court for years. I removed my phone from my pocket and placed it on the counter. With what money, Vanessa? You're broke. The estate taxes are due next week. You've leveraged everything you can. And now you've just admitted to knowing the will was fraudulent. Her eyes dropped to the phone, widening in horror. You're recording this. I've recorded everything, including your admission just now that you knew about Dad's true wishes. I picked up the phone, stopping the recording with a deliberate tap. 1 copy to my lawyer, 1 to the DA's office. Your choice. Vanessa collapsed onto a kitchen stool, the facade of power completely shattered. You would send me to prison. Your own sister. You were never my sister, I said quietly. Sisters protect each other. They don't steal birthright. For a moment, the only sound was the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway. My mother's clock, which Vanessa hadn't managed to sell yet. What happens now? She finally whispered. I gathered my documents, sliding them back into my briefcase with methodical precision. Now you have a choice. Sign the property transfer documents my lawyer will send tomorrow, returning my rightful half of the estate, or face criminal charges. Either way, I get what's mine. The only question is whether you'll be free to start over somewhere else. As I walked toward the door, Vanessa called after me, voice breaking. How did you become this person? This calculating. I paused, hand on the doorknob. I had an excellent teacher. The autumn sunlight felt warm on my face as I stepped outside. The real estate agent was waiting by the car, oblivious to the seismic shift that had just occurred inside. Everything satisfactory, Ms. Reynolds? He asked. I looked back at the house. My house, at least half of it now, and allowed myself a genuine smile for the first time in years. Yes, I said. Everything is exactly as it should be. 3 months after our confrontation, I sat in my father's study, now my study, watching autumn leaves dance across the lawn. Vanessa had chosen the path of least resistance, signing over half the estate rather than facing criminal charges. She'd left for Europe the following week, her social media suddenly silent. The lawyers handled everything with clinical precision. The estate was divided according to my father's original intentions. The tax bills were paid. The company's shares were redistributed. Justice, delivered through contracts and signatures rather than shouting and tears. I moved back into the east wing of the house, leaving the rest untouched for now. My first priority was the garden studio. I spent weeks restoring it, stripping away Vanessa's half-hearted renovations, returning it to the light-filled space my father had created for me. Then I expanded it, transforming the surrounding gardens into a small but elegant gallery. Hartley Arts opened 6 months after the confrontation, featuring my new collection, works created not from pain but from restoration. Critics called them meditative explorations of rebirth and reclamation. Maxwell attended the opening, pride evident in his eyes. "Your father would have loved this," he said, gesturing to the transformed space. "I know," I replied. And for the first time the thought didn't bring pain. I never pressed charges against Vanessa, not out of mercy, but because her punishment was already complete. She had lost everything she'd schemed to obtain, and now lived with the knowledge that her own greed had been her undoing. Sometimes I received postcards from distant cities. No message, just her initials. Reminders, perhaps, that she still existed. I kept them in a drawer, neither displaying nor discarding them. Some chapters don't need formal endings. One evening, as sunset painted the sky in watercolor hues, I sat in the garden with my sketchbook, a habit reclaimed from my former self. I drew the house as it stood, then overlaid it with transparent washes showing what it could become. A center for arts education, gallery spaces, studios for emerging artists. Revenge wasn't about destroying Vanessa. It was about rebuilding myself. About reclaiming not just property but purpose. As darkness fell, I closed the sketchbook, feeling something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. Not the fragile peace of ignorance, but the earned peace of justice restored. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I say it's best served with patience, intelligence, and a clear vision of justice. Vanessa taught me that nice girls finish last, but she failed to understand that observant women, those who watch, learn, and plan, ultimately finish strongest. Sometimes revenge isn't about burning bridges. It's about building new ones on your own terms, creating a path forward from the ashes of betrayal. Next week, I'll tell you about a woman whose husband left her for his assistant, not knowing she owned the company they both worked for. Her revenge wasn't just sweet, it was profitable. If you've ever been underestimated or betrayed, subscribe to Boundless Revenge, where we turn pain into power, one story at a time. Because the best revenge isn't just getting even, it's getting ahead.